So at the time of recording this, last video had 527 views, 64 likes, and just 4 comments. For those of you that saw the end of my last video, you saw that I asked a question. I understand maybe we're not interested in having this type of discussion. When I was part of the SDA church, I always knew there were things that needed to change. But for me, it was easier to think, it's not my job to fix that. I went to think it's that, and not that my Adventist friends are afraid of starting this type of discussion in such a public manner. Unfortunately, I did lose a bet because of this. Since I knew this was a possibility, I also share my story on an Adventist forum and see if a more anonymous setting would result in more interaction. And it did. There were 12 comments, and each comment had an average of about 5 replies. I can share multiple videos on these comments, but I want to focus on one that is really straightforward. As a reference in this forum, I shared a summary of what I said in the first video in about 9 paragraphs. The 4th paragraph talked about a bit about the issues I had with one pastor. It said the following: the pastor wanted more rules and laws topics. I wanted more love God and your neighbor topics. During the peak of the Black Lives Matter movement, a lot of our discussions revolved around this. Sometime after we had these discussions, he said, I don't want to hear about Black Lives Matter. I only want to hear about Jesus Matters. And one person responded with this: I didn't read to the end. Stopped at the Black Lives Matter versus Jesus Matter. As a Black Adventist in Africa, I think the church shouldn't be carried away by every wind that sweeps across the world. It's not our business to lend our voice to every sensational matter. Showing we support movements such as Black Lives Matter is unnecessary. Let's focus on Jesus. My response to this comment was, this is so weird to me. Based on what you're saying, I see the following conversation. Jesus saying, support your brothers and sisters. You saying, I want to focus on you, Jesus. Jesus responds with, okay, go and support your brothers and sisters who are suffering. And you say, no, I only want to focus on you. The person replied back saying, we can help our brothers without being part of concepts such as Black Lives Matter, which in many cases end up causing more problems. My point is, the church has policies on racial matters which it can always preach without jumping into whatever is making the news, as the Pope loves to do. We know what we stand for. I replied back with, I'm not sure what you mean by being part of concepts such as Black Lives Matter. As per my post, we were simply discussing about the real world issues that were happening during those months. It was something very important to us. Also, you say the church has policies on racial matters it can always preach about. Well, I think that's the problem. All the church does is preach about racial matters. When it comes to taking action, it does very little. The person replies back with, well, maybe there's something I'm not getting. Anyway, despite our shortcomings and mishaps here and there, I still strongly believe SDA is the ultimate church. We have the end time message. The approach may be wrong at times though. I reply and ask, does the SDA church have the end time message, or does the Bible have the end time message? The person responds with God through the Bible and SDA. So there's a lot to unpack there, but once a person believes that their church is God's chosen church, I can't continue a discussion because there's nothing I can say that will make a person understand that their church or religion is not the center of the universe. The first point is that believers like this person want to live in their church bubble because it's easier to stay in the church bubble. There can be people around us suffering and being treated unfairly. And what is our church going to do about it? We're going to preach about it. And that's it. So what do you suggest then? Well, I'm not going to sit here and pretend I have all the answers. But when people aren't even open to having discussions about it, we can't even get to the brainstorming part. And trust me, we try. We try to have discussions about this. Back in 2020, our group organized a meeting through Zoom that we live streamed to 3 churches. Before we started the discussion, I did clarify one thing because there seemed to be some misinformation going around.
Y quiero evitar en este momento una perspectiva que está circulando por el Internet, una perspectiva incorrecta que está ocurriendo en las redes sociales. Le voy a pedir a David que pueda compartir el screenshot que compartí con él. Fue un post que yo vi en Facebook y fue un post que honestamente, mis hermanos, no me gustó para nada porque es una perspectiva incorrecta. Si ven ahí, hablan acerca de a un guatemalteco. Dice, le perforaron el pulmón durante robo armado a un guatemalteco de Langley Park. Y la persona que comparte este post dice, ¿dónde está el apoyo para los hispanos, así como apoyan a los morenos delincuentes? And for our participants who are listening to us, this is a post about on Facebook talking about a man from Langley Park that was injured. And the person who shared this post, he literally says, where is the support for from the Spanish people in the same way we supported the delinquent Black people? Esta perspectiva, mis hermanos, no me gusta para nada. No estamos aquí apoyando a morenos delincuentes. Estamos apoyando un movimiento importante y personal para nosotros, para una comunidad que ha sido oprimida por muchos, muchos años. Así que quiero que desde ahorita quitemos esa perspectiva. No estamos apoyando a delincuentes, estamos apoyando a nuestros hermanos en Cristo. Si este tema no te interesa, espero que sea por ignorancia. Si este tema te aburre, mi hermano, siento tristeza por ti, porque no conoces el amor de Dios.
That Facebook post that I referenced was from a church member. After we finished the live stream, there were comments from some people motivating us to share more conversations and topics like these. But sometime later, the pastor made this comment.
Están siguiendo los caminos de Dios. Les estamos enseñando la dirección correcta. Yo entiendo lo de Black Matters, yo lo entiendo muy bien. Y lo entiendo muy bien. Pero Black Matters no es tan fuerte como Jesus Matters. Esas son cosas diferentes. Yo estoy más interesado en Cristo que en la sociedad.
I'm more interested in Jesus than society. Again, when Jesus came the first time, who did he help? Did Jesus simply preach about helping, or did he actually go and help? And the reason why I emphasize this is because these are two different people from different nationalities that think similarly, which means this is not something that only these two individuals believe. This is something that more people believe in. And yes, I'm talking about something that happened years ago, but the concept is still important today. If you think that your role as a Christian is to solely focus on Jesus and not society, then you're wrong. Thanks for watching.